Hello everybody, Joojinho here. Welcome back to this video. Going to make a brief video about Hurricane Milton. Long time since I last made a video about weather in general, but this time we're going to be talking about this one. Fantastic look on Jesus Christ, satellite, as you can see right there. So, few disclaimers here before I start making this video. Number one, this is not an official forecast. This is only my opinion, the opinion of a 14-year-old with no degree in meteorology, right? If you want to have precise information, check with your local NWS, emergency management, and especially the NHC, right? Don't trust this forecast over an official forecast made by people that actually have a degree in meteorology and understand tropical weather way more than I do. Disclaimer number two. This video is going to focus specifically on the tornado side of things, which is the best part of my forecasting. So I'm not going to be talking as much about storm surge and all that. That doesn't mean that this is not a significant situation. Remember, and I am going to quote the most recent bulletin by the NHC. Milton poses an extremely serious threat to Florida, and residents are urged to follow the orders of local officials. This is a potentially historic hurricane. Potentially no. Central pressure in the eye of Milton has fallen to a near record low, 897. It's one of the lowest central pressures in history. This is the first time we got below 900 millibars since 2005 with Hurricane Wilma. So this is a catastrophic situation. Okay, this is going to be a significant situation for Florida. Storm surge up to 15 feet near Tampa, and yeah, this is going to be a very significant situation for Florida. My thoughts and prayers for these people. They need. They just went through Helene. Thankfully, it's not taking exactly a direct. It's not going directly through the same areas, but man, these areas have seen enough. 2022 Ian, this year and with Helene, and this year now again with Milton, right? So this is our cone. This is our NUC cone. You can see right here, Milton making landfall as a category 3 to 4, right? Anything higher than 110 miles per hour is classified as a major hurricane, so a category 3 or higher. And although it's a little bit of a confused forecasting, I don't like the way the NHC makes the discussions here. We should make landfall between 145 miles per hour and 125 miles per hour. So run the edge between high-end category 3 to low to mid-range category 4. Very significant hurricane nonetheless, but it's interesting to see those details, right? It's not going to change much on your perspective if you are in Florida. 20 miles per hour are not going to save or kill you. I want to make that very clear. You should take shelter regardless. You should be prepared. You should evacuate. If you are in the area that has a warning for hurricanes, this red right here on the west coast of Florida, you should be evacuated. I want to make this very clear. Okay, don't think that this is not a significant hurricane, please. So, with that, those two disclaimers made clear. Let's start off here with the weather forecasting, the hurricane side of things, the tornado side of things. Sorry. We also I would like to mention as well. We have a moderate risk here for excessive rainfall here over Florida. Yeah, the main point of this video is going to be the tornado side of things. We have a day freeze line risk of severe weather here per latest SPC outlook. Yeah, since the last video they do now an update to the day free outlook. Thank you, SPC. So the risk for a few tornadoes are possible across the Florida Peninsula and Florida Keys as Hurricane Milton moves through on Wednesday. So I think that it could have been a little bit more aggressive with the messaging, but I can understand that there are a lot of uncertainties with this forecast, as there are on this week. Every single tropical cyclone related tornado event, there are uncertainties, right? Mainly thermodynamics. So let's start off here with the worst model. I'm joking, but yeah, not the best model. Let's start off here with the GFS, right? the global forecasting system. So, you may ask why am I starting off here with the cloud cover, which was because the first time for this video didn't go well. So, first thing that I'm going to look at actually is the total rainfall here on the NWS blend of models. This is a blend of several NWS models, GFS, CFS, etc. That are here. Ensemble runs, deterministic runs to make a general look. To have a general look at probabilities. It's good for these sort of rainfall totals. That's why if you look at the Weather Prediction Center rainfall total, it's going to show this sort of data. So you can see right here over Florida, in general, 6 to 7 inches of rain, maybe locally higher, as mentioned in the Weather Prediction Center discussion, up to higher than 10 inches of rain. GFS is a little bit more aggressive. You can see a little bit, no, way more aggressive, over 7 inches almost of rain. A very significant situation, as I mentioned. And the Euro model is a little bit more conservative on both the 18Z1 and probably the 12Z1 as well. Yeah, this will depend on how fast the hurricane moves. Yeah, you can see the locally higher. Overall, just 6 to 7 inches, and then 13 inches, 15 inches. Quite a significant situation. So, because we're making a forecast today free, we don't necessarily have many models. That's why I'm going to make an update to this video tomorrow, right? But let's use what I have. Let's use the rep, let's use the NAM, and etc. just to give a general look to this hurricane threat. But let's start off here with the grandparent on all these models, the GFS. So the main tornado threat should be as it makes landfall. So late Wednesday to early Thursday. So let's look at around this time zone around 3Z on Thursday. So late Wednesday, sorry. Let's take a look at 500 millibars. Not even sure what, but okay, let's take a brief look at that. And you can see we have quite a tight low pressure here. This, of course, is, let me draw it to make it a little bit clearer. This is Hurricane Milton. So this is our hurricane right here. And the thing about these tropical cyclones, this tropical cyclone tornado events, is that we have a lot of wind shear. And this is why. Look at the strength of this level jet, 106 knots. It's a very strong low level jet. Okay, and if you know how wind shear works, wind shear is either formed by one or both. Could be both. Okay, could be the different directions of the wind through the atmosphere, or two different velocities. So at 1,000 millibars near surface, we have like 60 knots as an example, and at 150 you have like 75. This creates wind shear. So just a brief look. Who started Counter-Strike 2, dude? Okay, but the main caveat with these tropical cyclone systems is not the shear, as you can imagine. I mean, we just showed you 100 knots of jet. Let me actually take a sound to show it to you. So you can take. I mean, if the sound. Oh Lord, what did I do? Okay, let's grab a less bad sound. Jesus Christ. Okay, my bad. Let's think a less bad sounding. This is still not amazing, but that's going to be this is going to work for me. So. Ignore the thermodynamics, okay? Ignore the QT. We're going to look at that later. Why is red so bad? Is there no better red? Okay. So, at the photograph, you can see right here, lots of curvature in the photograph, right? It's very almost. You can see that it's some very strong jets, 60 knots here, 70 knots, and nice curvature. The issue is not shear. You can see at the SRH, 700 SRH, 500 in the 0 to 1 kilometer level. The issue is, and will always be, thermodynamics. Why? When you have a severe event, the one thing that you always look to is inversions in the atmosphere. You can see right here, this is a very poor sounding, but whatever, very contaminated. You can see we have no inversions, so nope. Check boxes. Let me put a check box, just like Convective Chronicles. So no inversions. No in. And 2. And the second thing you're going to be looking for is cape, right? For you want to see cape development. You have some strong low-level thermodynamics, 73 or 77. It's good. Not a lot of TT spread as expected with the tropical setup. But then you look at the cape, right? And then you look and at those lapse rates. You can see the issue here. Lapse rates are low. If you don't know, lapse rates are the difference in temperature between layers of the atmosphere. So the difference of layer of temperature between the level of 0 kilometers and 3 kilometers in the atmosphere. The bare minimum for a decent, normally a severe setup is around 6. Because the because the shear is so extreme, and normally we can get some decent stability nonetheless. 5.9 is already decent, but I mean 5.1 level lapse rates are not going to do it. So you can see the issue. Because we don't see daytime heating, and I'm going to make a very important drawing of it. Because we have cloud cover, daytime heating is not as direct. So we can see our sun here. It's not as direct because we have cloud cover, which creates first of all, normally stable air, and it doesn't heat the surface. So first of all, we don't have great destabilization of the atmosphere, and second of all, lapse rates are poor, which is both of them are connected actually. So that's the issue with most of these setups. That's why actually Barrel was so potent, and Helene, with a small exception of the intense and brief but very intense tornado in North Carolina, were performed very differently, right? Helene was way stronger at landfall. Okay, so technically the shear would be stronger. However, the thermodynamics didn't help Helene, which was why the Helene didn't perform like we expected it to. Not to say it busted, far from that, tornado-wise. Performed actually significantly, I would say overperformed because of that EF3. The GFS is expected, it's a global model, it's going to be underdoing Cape, but let's see by how much they will be underdoing Cape. Remember, we're going to see some Cape nonetheless because of that moist air mass. And you can see we barely have Cape at all, surface-based Cape around 600 max. But let's take a sounding here to check. And you can see, very interesting, already helps me to prove my point. So, you can see you have some decent curvature in the photographs, some strong jet as well. One thing that could make it a little bit difficult for these supercells to actually develop tornadoes is the inflow. The storm relative inflow is pretty strong, around 37 knots. So yeah, it's not going to be easy for these supercells to necessarily produce. They will need to win this battle against the inflow, but they can. So you can see we have some light inversions, not going to change much, but the main issue here is that although we have some strong curvature in the holograph, strong shear 410 SRH to the 3 kilometer, the issue is lapse rates and instability. Cape is around 520, lapse rates 5.7. Lapse rates are not horrible, we can work with them. The Cape is the issue. And why do we have that? You may ask. Let's take a brief look here in surface precipitation, cloud cover, and let's go to a forecast slideshow, and you're going to understand. So, the closer it gets to blue, the more the cloud cover. I'm not sure why they did that. Okay, I'm not sure why it is no cloud cover and blue is lots of cloud cover. Don't ask me. That's the pivotal error's fault. So you can see that as we near Wednesday, you can see we see the entire day pretty much with absolutely no breaks in the clouds. Okay, maybe a few breaks in the certain part of Florida, but overall just an entire day in darkness, right, before the hurricane goes. So you can see right here, that's the point. Convection and that's going to be difficult to write. Convection kills daytime heating. So our sun, beautiful sun by the way, is not able to heat the surface enough. However, you already have some signs of some potential hazards, okay, some potential issues. The strong jet is there, strong moisture is there, so all things considered, we should at the very minimum see some strong low-level instability, and that's when we get to the wrap, right? While the HRRR, it's not in range yet. So let's go to the 20Z wrap. Anyways, I'm actually starting to like the wrap more than the HRRR. It's a whole lot of the story that could go for another video, but I generally don't like the wrap that much anymore. The HRRR. I'm becoming a NAM fan, okay? Talk badly about me in the comments. I'm becoming a NAM fan. So let's go to 850 millibars. And let's watch the hurricane get closer as you start to see the issues of the wrap. And that's why I don't like to use it in tropical cyclones. So you can see right here, 150 millibars, we are getting closer, You can already see some winds here in the center part of the map. There you go. Our low pressure, and then we are barely cut out. But you can see already, the first issue, it's going to make landfall a little bit to the south for what we expect. We expect it to be closer to Tampa, and this is way to the south, way more to the south than what we expected. But whatever. The main thing that I like to look at the wrap, and an interesting signal is instability. Because why do we want to look at instability? Because the wrap, these models like to introduce stability and moisture. If they have some good cape, which is the first and the most important thing to see in a tropical cyclone setup, it's going to be a setup that we may want to look. So mixed layer cape, you can see our cyclone coming up, and you can see, boom, quite a lot of cape actually. So let's go to 51. TR51, 0Z on Wednesday, and this is the point. We have strong ML cape. So cape in the mid levels of the atmosphere, check. Low level cape, as you can see right here, or may not because the model doesn't want to load. Please help me. Loading. There you go. Yet again, some strong level stability as well. 150. Actually, some intense low level stability over almost getting to 200 in the eastern coast of Florida. So very intense low level instability. As you may have seen, the jet is way weaker, but that's a bias, a very big bias actually by the wrap to underdo hurricane instability, hurricane force, sorry, intensity. As you can see right here, or may not because the model doesn't want to load. There you go. The landfall here is 1996. Absolutely ridiculous. Hurricane will be much stronger than that, so the jet will be a lot stronger. However, the main issue, the main point here is the cape. So let's take a brief sounding here over southern Florida to take a look at the thermodynamics mainly. So the photograph is way weaker, although still favorable. So remember, we have 200 SRH, 0 to 1 kilometer, 250, 0 to 3 kilometers. So this is a favorable environmental rate. Lapse rates are not terrible actually. They're good for a tropical setup. 5.6, 0 to 3 kilometer level lapse rates, and mid-level lapse rates barely enough at 6. But the most important part is 3 cape in the 113s and cape at 600 to 700 in the mid-layer, the mid-level. Right? We also see a very small inversion here, but that's not a big point. Overall, the thing that I want to point out from this is the environment is favorable for tornadoes, potentially even a significant tornado or two if everything goes to plan. We have strong shear as expected, strong stability, decent lapse rates, and strong level thermals. Overall, this is a very interesting setup, as we can see by the wrap. Now, we can take a very brief look, I think, at the starting hours of the event with the HRRR. but not going to change much. It's not a great model. Yeah, completely getting the time wrong. With the hurricane making landfall by like 18Z, that's never happened. That's never happening. So yeah, this is never happening. That's why I don't like I don't trust the HRRR that much. Now, going to from one model that we can trust for several reasons, and that is, those reasons vary within setups. Going to a model that we know what it overdoes and what it underdoes. So let's talk about the NAM. The NAM for Hurricane is very controversial because it overdoes the strength of the Hurricane a lot, and you can see right here while you're talking about. So, and let's just wait a second. If it may load. It would be great. My internet is very slow here for some reason today. But yeah, you can, yeah, 99, that is not happening. Okay, the pressure at least at this time is not expected to get this low as we near landfall. Okay, but the timing of the hurricane is actually more accurate in the NAM than it is on the HRRR. I don't even know. Okay, don't ask me. I am not the creator of these models. Don't judge me. Okay. But the overall, let's go to 0Z to get just a general idea as we get closer to the hurricane make landfall. Those other bands are already touching ground. They are already producing tornadoes. And you can see, be prepared for some overdoing of this year, okay? You can see our hurricane here. You can already see some supercells getting into the coast, right? So these are the supercells that we actually look. These are called mini supercells. They are not supercells they may see on an actual tornado outbreak in the plains, but because they have such strong and potent shear, they are enough. Okay, this is the sort of setups that we see on tropical setups, and you can see right here those supercells making landfall. So I don't even like to look at this because of the NAM, but 850 millibar winds, they are going to be very high. Don't trust these one, okay? The NAM, I'm going to make that disclaimer, right? So I'm going to put it in the top. One, don't trust shear because it overdoes shear. And two, cape may be higher. Okay, could be higher than usual than reality. Let's play like that. I just spoke English, Portuguese, sorry guys. So you can have here. Don't trust shear. Cape could be higher than the reality. So you can see right here, we are not going to see such a powerful hurricane. Okay, don't trust the NAM. Okay, it's a lesson that we gotta learn. But you can see right here already some strong shear over Florida. The hurricane should already be closer than what it is right here. So you should be around here. You should be nearing Florida. Should be edging already Florida at the Florida coast. You should make landfall very quickly. But the main point of it is the ML Cape here on the NAM. And as it loads, you can see right here that, oh boy, yet again, second model in a row showing a very potent environment thermodynamically wise, almost 2 to 3,000 joules per kilogram of Cape. Let's take a brief look here in the western side of our slide disk here, and you're going to understand our issues here. You can see very strong curvature, right? Because the hurricane is a little bit slower, I think that this is reasonable. Okay, the shear is not that strong. Should be a little bit lower, but okay, this is reasonable. I think we should get those 300 SRH. The photograph is pretty insane still. Those lapse rates are enough, actually. They are pretty good, not going to lie. Strong low-level lapse rates, 6.5s, mid-level lapse rates are workable, but the main point, yet again, look at that cape. 2,000 joules per kilogram of cape, 167, 3 cape. Some extremely strong for the setup. Okay, it's a tropical setup. Some very strong instability, some sufficient instability, low level instability, mid level instability, strong lapse rates, strong shear. We have an overall setup that is very favorable for tornadoes. If I may quote the messages that the SPC has used in other hurricane setups, several tornadoes. So this is quite the setup that is potent for those reasons. As we get to around, I think, let me look at the actual timing. around 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There you go. So 2 hours before the NEC actually forecasts it to make landfall. Let me just go to composite reflectivity, and you see more and more supercells are actually making landfall in Florida. Look at those supercells. One here, one here, one here. These supercells are very small, so they don't actually create those traces of updraft helicity tracks. But let's take a very brief look at the actual environment. Box soundings are amazing for these sort of situations, and this is a very interesting look. The SRH is pretty strong, or seja, this is not Portuguese. We can see some strong curvature, which means strong shear, right? A little bit of inversion, actually, quite a little bit of dry air, if you consider this tropical side up. ML Cape yet again pretty strong, and yet again lapse rate 3 Cape. Overall a setup that should favor tornadoes, multiple tornadoes, and even a potential for a significant tornado or two. Let's look a little bit more to the north. I would imagine that Cape should already be a little bit weaker, but shear will be stronger. So let's see how the NAM simulates this. Yeah, pretty much on the dot actually. Cape is a little bit weaker. Lap rates are pretty good though. 3 Cape is high, and the curvature of the holograph is beautiful. Of course, don't trust this blindly. This is not going to be necessarily happen. But the SRH is yet again very strong. 460 SRH. Now let's look to the exact time of landfall around 5Z here, 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And let's wait for it to load. You can see yet again several small supercells here, a few more in the coast, but just in general, a big amount of supercells, mini supercells over Florida. Cape should be probably getting a little bit lower already because we're getting to the overnight hours. Maybe even seeing a little bit of a low level inversion. But let's see. Let's just wait for it to load. I don't think it wants to load. Okay, there you go, it load. So let's take a brief look here over parts of Southern Florida. And you can see, yet again, some very strong curvature in the holographs. Cape, yet again, strong. Lapse rates, good. 3 Cape, good. Shear, good. So, overall, if those storms, the main issue that I actually see it here are, one, MLLRs, which means mid-level lapse rates. And two, the inflow. The inflow is going to be very strong, but I think the supercells can actually beat it. So overall, the tornado threat should be very potent for a tropical setup here, if we as we analyze as the name suggests. Let's take a brief look at our last model here. That I'm just going to show for shits and giggles, because I don't trust this model that much. It's the RFS, okay? Ruthless supercell machine, as I like to call it with my friends, because, as you may guess, it likes to create supercell out of nowhere. But it is not that bad for environment, so for the environment in general. So let's just take a very quick look at Cape, because I like to do Cape. There you go. It did barely any Cape over Florida. Probably going to show some more. It's probably showing way stronger cloud cover. Yep. Even some inversions here. Very interesting. And that's why, my friends, we don't trust the Rufus, okay? We don't like the RFS. And another solution that I'm going to show just for shits and giggles, it's the FV3. The FV3 is a bad model in general. I just don't like it. But this solution, I find it funny because it was probably the most absurd solution I've ever seen out of this model. And I've seen some ridiculous ones, including the April 26th one, which was not that ridiculous as now that I look back. But anyways, you can see already it creates super out of nowhere, just like the Rufus. And you can see, as we get closer, those multiple supercells start popping up. I joked with my friends even, this is like May 20th sort of supercells. This is not happening, just to make it very clear. But I mean, it's interesting to see, I guess. So overall, I think that's that. Please be prepared for a catastrophic situation with this hurricane. for the extreme rainfall, for the storm surge, for the strong winds, and for this tornado threat that I just covered. If you have any questions, type them in the comments, and hopefully I'll be back in Twitter in a week. Hopefully this week Twitter will be unbanned here in Brazil. We need to see, but yeah, Twitter has paid all the money they had to pay, the Supremo Tribunal Federal. It depends on the PGR and Alexandre de Moraes himself, but I think we're going to get it either this week or next week. Eventually, we're going to get it. So, thank you so much. Love you all. I miss you all in the winter, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace. Oh gosh, being without Twitter is sad, man. I gotta tell you.